So, I have a love-hate relationship with making music. Well, let me take a step back. I have a love-hate relationship with producing music. Ever since I downloaded my first copy of GarageBand, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, I've been trying to make my own music, and typically my music production timeline goes something like this. I feel super inspired. I'm making some really nice sounding melodies. I come up with something that's actually gold. I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be a millionaire. This is the best thing I've ever made in my life. And then I start adding parts to the song, some different instruments, some vocals, some lyrics, and I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. And then step 3, I get stuck looking for a good kick sound for about 10 hours. Yeah. And then on the next playthrough, I realize everything I've made is trash and I should give up and I actually suck. And then it all repeats. And I don't know why this happens. On one hand, it could simply be hitting a wall, things like self-doubt about my skills or frustration over not being, flowing while making music, not being in the zone, and that could all be the culprit. But on the other hand, I believe it boils down to a bigger issue, and that's not really knowing what I'm making. When I go into making a song, more often than not, I don't really have an idea in mind. I just start playing until something happens. And to be fair, I don't think this is the worst approach to making music, but it does start to cause some problems when all of your songs end up completely directionless. So what I want to do is set out on some techniques that might help me solve this issue. Looking at other artists, one of the biggest tips I saw often was just to continue to try new things once I'm in this boat. Maybe throw in an instrument that doesn't make any sense. Maybe try putting in a part that's completely weird and sort of off-putting, something just wrong, quote unquote. And by knowing what doesn't sound good, knowing what does sound good should come a lot easier. That's kind of the mental behind that. The other aspect I saw was actually structuring my songs. There's still so much I don't know about proper song structure that I could learn, and more importantly, there's this idea that a lot of famous songs use the exact same song structure, and by following that, I could actually make a lot of progress in making my songs. At the same time though, I don't want my music to sound like a lot of other people's, so this is kind of a tricky problem to solve. But still, the simple idea of building my song as if it were a painting, adding in different layers to the point where it could be one cohesive piece at the end, I thought that was really beneficial, so I started to try to do that. And this isn't to say I still don't get stuck sometimes, because I most definitely do, but once I started implementing this idea of just continuously trying new things and actually structuring my music to have a point and a definition and a, beginning, middle, end, it made everything flow a little bit easier. So we have structure and we have our perseverance factor, but I still have this lingering issue. When I play music, and especially my music, alongside other people's music, other Billboard top artists, all that jazz, I feel like my music just sounds worse. If that happens, I want you guys all to just take a second and breathe. These artists have been making music for years. They have access to the most expensive equipment, recording studios, and obviously have unbelievable talent. And for the majority of these artists, one thing that you can do is just take a listen to the first piece of music these artists have ever released. I'm sure you'll see how unbelievably much their artistic voice has changed over the years. As you guys probably know, I'm a really big fan of Tyler, the Creator, and his older music sounds just very muddy, if I could put it in one way. That doesn't mean it's bad by any means, but you can see how much his clarity and voice has improved over the years. That doesn't mean set your expectations and ambitions any lower. Still try to make your music sound as good as possible, but don't let doubt influence the music you want to try and make. And if all else fails, you can just listen to some really bad music on YouTube. I promise 10 minutes of searching, you'll hear some of the worst tracks you've ever heard in your life, and then you'll feel like the next Pharrell. So I made this video as hope, and as well to practice animating, because I kind of suck at it. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the rest of mine. I got a pretty cool channel, I think. Anyways, go write some music now. You're inspired. Go for it.